Welcome to this session on Characteristics of Events Part 1 of the course Basics of Event Management. Dear learners, we are all familiar with the event industry today. We know that events just don't happen. They are managed to happen. We are also familiar that the event and activation industry is growing rapidly across the globe. Basically, what is an event? An event is a live multimedia package which is preconceived and held accordingly with the objectives of the client in mind to deliver a two-way interaction. Hence, event is not just an event but an experience. Nevertheless, events are called the businesses of experiences. So, how do these events happen? Before we know about what events are and what their characteristics are, we need to really understand and know about the types of events happening around us. So, before we take a deep dive into the characteristics of events, it is very essential to know what the event industry is like. In other words, we should know what kinds of events are happening across the world. So, a snapshot of the event industry. We need to know about the types of events happening around us based on the size. These have been classified as mega events, minor events, hallmark events, major events, regional events, and much more. Events also are, sending live communication to the brain. So they provide the touch and feel factor. That's why they are popularly, as I just said, are called the businesses of experiences. They are practiced globally today with all the requirements of a modern profession and are self and skill development oriented. So, let us look at what these events are like. Mega events, like I said, are the largest events. They are the larger than life events. They are targeted at international markets and the footfall exceeds 1 million visits. A lot of public financial involvement is seen in mega events, as the name suggests. The extent of television coverage, construction of facilities, revenue, and social and economic impact are the characteristics of mega events. Some of the best examples of mega events are the World Fairs, Olympics, and Commonwealth Games. Next are the major events in the category. Major events are those events which attract significant visitor numbers and local interest. So in short, they kind of enhance the tourist appeal of a destination. It is very important to know that major events have a lot of tourism revenue. They involve a lot of media coverage and they generate a lot of economic benefits. Some relevant examples of major events are the Jaipur Literature Festival and the Festival de Cannes. Of course, the Jaipur Literature Festival, who is not familiar with this? It is the largest literature festival of Asia and it is held in Jaipur, Rajasthan every year in January. So now let us look at the next category called hallmark events. Now, hallmark events are very significant because of their, they are one-time, one-off kind of events, or they could be recurring events in nature of limited duration. So they also enhance the appeal and profitability of a tourism destination in short term or long term. Why are they called hallmark events? And why are they called one-time events? Because they are so unique because of their status, their appeal, or of timely significance that they create interest and attract a lot of attention, not just locally but across the world. They represent the city or the region where they are held and the region or the destination where they are held become very important on the world map, that all nearly most of the population across the world become familiar with such events. Such events are popularly held every year, or once in 2 years, or once in 4 years, or they could be held even once in 6 months. So they generate a lot of local and international recognition, like I said, because of their image and publicity which they generate. The Edinburgh Festival, Mardi Gras Festival, which actually started originally historically in New Orleans, is now celebrated across the world. And of course, the Adelaide Festival of Australia. So these are some glimpses of the famous hallmark event. We now move to the next category of events called the regional events. Now the name itself signifies that regional events enhance the appeal of a specific tourist destination or region. Also, they attract a lot of international tourists and achieve market positioning for both domestic and international tourism markets. Some of the popular examples of regional events are the Delhi Food Festival, Onam Festival of Kerala, which signifies and stands out very popular because of the boat race, the Tomatina Festival, which is held in Bunol, Spain, and the Perth International Arts Festival, which is the oldest multi-arts festival that is held annually in Perth, Australia. This is a glimpse of the Onam Festival, which is held in Kerala during the occasion of Onam Festival. Then we come to another category of events called the minor events. Now, as the name signifies, these are the events which we happen to visit very frequently. We are a part of such events, and these are those events that are seen happening around us as a regular feature. Most of the event managers gain their experiences from minor events only. Some of them are the dealers' conferences, meetings, weddings, the activations which you see in different malls, anniversaries, charitable and fundraising events, activations happening in rural areas, urban fringes of the cities and towns, product launches, exhibitions, conventions, retail events, merchandising events, auditions for competitions or talent hunt on television shows, cultural festivals, local events, community events, and other many such social or personal events like fairs, galas, and much more. So many of us can associate with minor events because even if we were not able to attend in person any of those special mega events like the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games, we have definitely witnessed and been a part of minor events. So this was just a glimpse of the size of events for you when we talk about the types of events. Now let us talk about the key services. We all should be familiar with the fact that the event industry got into visibility across the globe, as in it started becoming more visible as a profession since the late 1990s. And of late, we have started seeing that events are being recognized more so because of the key services that they provide, such as the intellectual property. So many companies who have their popular events would like to brand their events through intellectual property. Some of the popular intellectual properties which we are familiar of are the famous IIFA Awards, the Mahindra Blues Festival, Sunburn, and much more. So what are intellectual properties basically? This is basically the logo, concept, or name of a company, or a partially, it could be a partially owned property of that company. Then we have managed events. Managed events are basically the minor events which I just spoke about. These are brand launches, dealers meets, weddings, anniversaries, parties, festivals, fundraisers, exhibitions, conventions, and much more. Then we talk about the digital events. As we all know that a lot of events are happening today in today's times because of the pandemic. They are happening digitally. So in digital events, the participants or the stakeholders of the events are connected in a common digital environment. So sometimes you are physically present for the event, but you are also connected with each other, all the other participants digitally. So we can also call them as phygital events. Then activations or promotional campaigns. Many of us are familiar with these kinds of events. They are the small size events for promotions or activations of a sale of a product or a service. So like in rural areas, you can see how LED lighting gets promoted, or a particular contraceptive gets promoted by the company, or a particular brand is getting promoted by a company. So all these are called activations or promotional campaigns. These happen all across the cities and towns, even in rural areas. So you can see how the concept is expanding and how events are growing in this fashion. Then of course we are seeing today emerging trends, like I said, in rural, sports events, digital integration, and government events. So it is very, very pertinent to state here that a lot of events are going to, in future, are going to be seen as sports events, intellectual properties, managed events. Of course, government events are happening in a big way every now and then. So this is, in brief, a snapshot of how a transition has happened from sunrise sector to a very, very competitive sector, because a lot of competitive advantage is held in this field of event management. So a look at the types of events in terms of the size and the key services that they provide tells us very clearly how events are very, very salient in energizing economies. They are emerging as a salient economic generator across countries and nations for both the youth as well as other segments which are involved in the event industry. Now, to understand really clearly how the event industry works, it is very, very important to understand the business of events. What is their characteristics? What is the essence of events? So let us have a look at the characteristics of events in this session. First and foremost, events are a platform for interaction and networking. As we all know, man is a social animal. We are all leading our lives trying to remember the collection of experiences which we have witnessed in our lives. Events are meant just for this, primarily. People are brought together for specific purposes such as brand building, charity, fundraising, or simply for the purpose of entertainment, ceremonial activities, rituals, image building, and much more. For instance, we could gather just for the sake of entertainment to meet up with our old friends at a common place and then have a lot of share our old memories about what our lives were, etc., etc., at a common entertainment venue. Similarly, we gather together for rituals, for witnessing rituals, for ceremonial activities for a particular purpose. These could be very personalized in nature. These could be family events, social events, or personal events. Likewise, for the purpose of brand building or for the purpose of promoting a brand, events are held. So, this is really, really important that at the center of these activities lies the purpose of interaction, the purpose of meeting up, the purpose of networking as well. So events are the best platform where target audience or customers get a chance to meet the producers of products. For instance, the producer of a famous beverage brand, he might want to promote his brand. So in order to promote his brand, which could be just a small part of his marketing strategy, he might organize an event. Similarly, products in this way are brought to the end user through a lot of innovative methods and interaction. A lot of 360 degrees effect of experiential marketing is used in such events where the audience, the target audience, is made to experience a product on the ground. Hence, like I said in the beginning of this session, events provide a two-way avenue for two-way interaction, which is very, very essential for us to understand. We are made to feel the product at events. So, a lot of innovative methods are employed here, and a lot of platforms are built for interaction between the producers and consumers of products at the event venue. For example, products such as Lakme and Maybelline, besides getting advertised, they get introduced through demonstrations and activations in malls and beauty shops. You all are familiar with Lakme, Maybelline and Revlon. All these are popular cosmetic brands. Similarly, stationery products like Camlin get introduced through demonstrations, drawing competitions and road shows covering most of the schools. Same goes with products like Horlicks, Bournvita and so on. These get a lot of promotion in schools, not just in shops and other retail outlets. Likewise, the next example is that of the crowd at a wedding, anniversary, get-together, birthday party or a New Year party, which will not just be interacting with each other, but also with the hosts and perhaps with entertainers. So this also creates an atmosphere and makes the event enjoyable. All of us know that such events are very, very memorable for us and they are very, very close to our heart. Now, also another example for interaction and networking is the crowd in a sports event like a football match, which contributes to the whole experience by cheering and interacting amongst themselves or with participants, staff and so on. So we see a lot of participants, cheering up at the at the players, trying to cheer them up, trying to boost them up and so on. We have a lot of cheerleaders also specially planted at such events. So many such examples are there which tell us that events are a major platform primarily for interaction and networking. So based on the above examples, it is pretty much clear that one needs to create an event based on the kind of people going to be a part of it. We really need to concentrate and think hard on who is going to be a part of the event, what kind of participants will be attending the event, what are they going to learn from the event, how are they going to react to a particular event, so that the interaction amongst themselves becomes very, very pleasant and leads to a successful event. Similarly, the role of target audience. Now, the target audience, like I just said, is very, very important to be kept in mind, and event success or failure is based on their actions. Here, the role of target audience, which I am especially talking about, means their actions and reactions while they are attending the event. It is also very, very important to understand that the event is because of them. The event is being held because of them. So likewise, create an ambience which is very, very favorable for such a target audience. The same successful event, if repeated, may be a success or failure depending on the background of the audience, their interactions and reactions. So another thing which has to be kept in mind is what kind of audience is entering the event venue at the time of the event. Such a screening is also necessary so that we know that the right audience is entering the event venue and the right audience has been invited for the event venue. So the right target audience is a vital aspect for event planners to consider while designing the event. Another very salient characteristic of events is uniqueness and perishability. Let us all understand and get this straight into our minds that every event is unique in its own way. Every event is a different experience to the audience, hence it is unique. We need to understand that no two events are the same. Even if two weddings were to be held by the same organizer on the same day in the same city, they would definitely differ in terms of timings, number of people visiting, the way people interact, and much more. Hence, the two weddings would be radically different in the sense that if the wedding is held in two different places, the kind of people who attend the wedding would be definitely different because the weddings belong to two different families and they could be coming from different culture, they could be having a different background and so on. The same theory applies to another event. For instance, the response towards a rock show by a renowned artist in a city. For example, the response towards a rock show by Bryan Adams in Bangalore would be different than the response towards a rock show by Bryan Adams in Mumbai. So this is because of the location, demographics, arrangements and audience response, which might not be the same in these two different cities. Hence, the rock shows by the same artist in different cities are unique. So these qualities attribute to the uniqueness of any event, and hence the two rock shows would be radically different. Likewise, an art exhibition which is held in a state will not be the same in another state. So the art exhibition will be held by a different organizer or a different curator or a producer, or it might be held by the same producer or curator. So the art exhibition held by the same curator would be different in another state. The format of the exhibition will be the same, the location might be different, hence the two events will be distinctively unique. So this makes the event by the same organizer unique in every state. So likewise, the people, geography and environment vary. So the same kind of event, the same format of event will be very different in different places because of the geography, demography, culture, people and environment. So a memorable event is unique because of pleasant happenings to cherish and a successful audience response. So any event becomes unique because of the pleasant memories generated by that particular event, and this creates the desired impact which the event organizer wants, and the outcome is definitely brilliant. We also need to understand that events are tremendously perishable. It means that no event can be repeated the same way. The International Filmfare Awards, Mirchi Music Awards or Oscar Awards, which we are very familiar with, they are held every year, but these might not be similar to the one that was held in the previous year. So this is the perishable nature of the particular event that was held just once. So events like workshops, seminars and brand building, though mostly organized by event management companies in a particular way, will be different on every occasion, though their formats will be the same. So while being brief and time bound, they are perishable in nature. Likewise, perishability also relates to the use of facilities for events. All of us must have observed, for example, that the usage of banqueting room for weddings mostly, its peak usage might be on Sunday evenings for weddings. And so on the remaining days of the week, what happens? Its revenue generating potential may not be exploited. That's because on weekdays mostly such banqueting halls or banqueting rooms do not get utilized for weddings or such personal family events. Thus, for the remaining days, a revenue generating potential of each day is lost forever. So, this is a major perishable quality. Similar is the case with sports stadiums, wedding ballrooms in hotels. The day on which the stadium or the ballroom is empty, it cannot be replayed and used for an event. This is another perishable characteristic of events. Now, events like the Mahindra Blues Festival, Sunburn, or the Lakme India Fashion Week, these are famous intellectual properties. They become properties for their hosts or sponsors. So, these events are also held every year with a different format, or the format could be the same, but the nature of such events is perishable. So every event is perishable because it is not repeated in the same way, twice or thrice. Events are also exploited via multiple mediums like webcasting, internet, audio and video programs. This is another perishable quality. We need to ensure that the extent of facilities and services can be used effectively for the event because of its uniqueness and infrequent occurrence. It shows that we spend a lot of money and planning to organize events, to give them their unique characteristic, and because they are perishable in nature. The perishable nature of events also suggests that events could possibly be expensive to provide, like I just said. The cost of losing an opportunity in event management, it is often referred to as loss due to perishability, can be countered or can be recovered by many event managers by applying different techniques. For example, differential pricing or discount days helps provide businesses in cycles or days when the business trend is low. For example, all of you are familiar, or most of you must be familiar with the Kingdom of Dreams in Gurgaon, Haryana. It offers discounted rates for its entertainment shows on weekdays. So this brings us to the end of this session, where we learned about the different types of events in terms of their size, the kind of key services that they provide in today's contemporary times, how the industry is emerging because of these types of events and the key services that they provide. And we also learned about two salient characteristics of events called a platform for interaction and networking, and uniqueness and perishability. I would like you to look at these characteristics of events, take notes of these characteristics, and try to identify these characteristics in events which you see around you or in digital events. That's all for now, and we shall meet in the next session and continue with more on the characteristics of events. Thank you.